Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It's Garlaanx here bringing you a new Neverwinter video. And today, as the title suggests, we're going to be looking at the new Module 24 gear, specifically the arms slash gloves, and then the two-piece ring set. They both have damaging abilities on it. I tested these a while back. I forgot to save the tests, and then I forgot about it for a while. But as we grow closer, we're about to the midway point of Mod 24 already. It's a 10-week campaign. We're coming up on like week 6. So we're more than halfway through. More and more players are doing the new Epic Temple of the Spider, the remastered version, whatever you want to call it. And they're accumulating currency. So the question always is, well, is this gear any good, etc. So we just did some simple testing. We're going to be looking at the Dark Maiden raid wrist guards in particular, and they have critical force on them. Whenever you critically strike with your powers, you have a 10% chance to deal 150 magnitude damage around you. This effect may only occur once every 15 seconds. Now, on paper, it looks good. It does. It looks okay on paper. Testing, nah, it's pretty bad. Unfortunately, the 150 magnitude doesn't scale with anything, so buffs and debuffs and everything else. It doesn't critically hit. It's not activated with combat advantage damage either. So, I mean, overall, it's pretty bad. So, other than the item level being 2,000, you're still better off using, in the long run, something like the Dragon Hunt gear. So, yeah, you're losing a little bit of item level, but you're gaining like that 5% damage. Now, I can't tell you what to do. I've tested it single target and AoE, and the gloves just seem to underperform, in my opinion. If you want to use them, by all means, be my guest. If we go ahead and bring up the numbers, let's see here, the gloves, let's look at the gloves. So you can see critical force here is what we're looking at in the overall DPS log. This was done single target. So we're looking at 64,000 overall damage in like a almost 3-minute testing scenario. It only hit 7 times. Remember, it does have that internal cooldown of 15 seconds, but it's also only a 10% chance every time you critically strike. So not only are there, certain stipulations stacking on top of each other, right? So not only do you have to critically strike, but also it's only a 10% chance, and then it can only happen once every 15 seconds. So, I mean, it's not that great, folks. I see a lot of players already running around with these equipped. Even in AoE situations, they don't seem to be that great, honestly. Again, you can see 0% critical damage, 0% combat advantage damage. Now, whether or not that's a bug or intended, I don't know. But as of testing of whatever today is, I think today's December 1st, they can't crit, and they're not getting combat advantage. So, in a 3-minute test, it's 64,000 damage. And like I said, it only procced a total of 7 times. So, not that great, in my opinion, honestly. But hey, to each is their own. If you want to use them, be my guest. Now let's move on to the rings. Now there are a plethora of rings, so you can use whatever combination you want. What we're focusing on is the 2 set effect here, the Dark Maiden set effect. So you'll gain 3,000 Forte. Your attacks have a 10% chance to do an additional 33% magnitude damage around you. I forgot to mention, as well as the gloves, it's damage around you. And I tested the ranges on this, and it's not very far. You have to almost basically be on top of your targets to get the damage around you effect. So the rings, I was thinking maybe AoE situation, but we tested both. We did single target and AoE. So whatever combination rings you want, like I said, the same thing applies. The fact that if you want to use the old rings, for instance, like the Soothsayer, is 7% critical strike, and that's going to fluctuate based on your hit points. So the new one for that is, 5% critical strike. But if you have more than 2 enemies, you're also going to gain 2.5 crit severity. So you're going to lose like 2% critical strike. Does that really matter? No, not really. I mean, you have to rebalance all of your statistics anyway every time a new module comes out and anytime gear is interchanged, etc. But the main focus of these rings is I wanted to see the 2-piece set and if they were actually worthwhile. So if we go ahead and bring that up really quickly, we're looking at the pressure of the Maiden effect here. I have it highlighted. Again, this was about a 2.5 minute test. So 237,000 damage isn't too bad. It procced 28 times, but again, it did not crit. So both of these items cannot crit. This one, however, did get some combat advantage flank damage, 75%. So the rings aren't horrible. If you want to upgrade to the new rings, by all means, that's fine. Any additional damage can't hurt. If you're replacing the Dragon Hunt rings, then it's not that big of a deal. These rings are higher item level than the Dragon Hunt, and at least you're getting, more statistics, and then you are getting that extra damage. Now, again, this test in particular was single target. And it still did an extra, almost 250k damage. Nothing too impressive. Nothing to go out of your way and say, oh my god, I have to farm Epic Temple of the Spider non-stop until I get the appropriate rings that I need. By all means, you're more than welcome to do that, but, these aren't like best in slot. You have to have them, etc. It's not going to break or make your character if you're using these. But again, extra damage on the side, it all accumulates, it all adds up, so it's just extra damage. But nothing, like I said, nothing to go out of your way and strive to get or something. So one more test that I did do was an AoE situation, because I saw, single target, might not be the best option. So I wanted to do it as a AoE test as well. This was a 3-minute test. And I have the pressure of the Maiden highlighted, and critical force is still bad. The arms overall are just bad. You'd be better off, again, using the Dragon Hunt ones. The damage just isn't there. Again, it does not get combat advantage, and it does not crit for whatever reason. Now, the pressure of the Maiden, we had 96% combat advantage, but again, it did not crit. But in a 3-minute AoE test, it almost did double the damage because it was probably hitting more targets, obviously. It hit 56 times. So, again, it's not, out of this world, super duper damage. But at the end of the day, it's still just bonus damage on top of everything you're doing already. Again, you're probably going to get these rings for the effects. The critical strike one and the combat advantage one are probably going to be the two go-to DPS rings just for the statistical values. And then again, on top of that, you're getting the bonus damage. Are you going to change them out for single target versus AoE situations? That's up to the individual player if they want to swap out rings between loadouts. Both of these rings, in my opinion, are better for AoE, obviously, because you're hitting more targets with them. The gloves overall or the arms overall, they're poo-poo caca. If you want to use them, by all means, again, be my guest, do as you will. However, I feel that, something like the Dragon Hunts where you're getting the raw 5% damage stacking is better than just the damage increase overall. So that's all I really got for you again. If you want to see the AoE test, that's all I really got for you folks. Just some little minor testing today, because I do see a lot of people, again, running around wearing these arms already, because on paper, 150 magnitude damage is it's a significant amount of damage on paper. But when it's not affected by critical strikes or combat advantage or buffs and debuffs, then 150 magnitude damage is poop. So, again, is it working as intended or is it bugged? who knows? Cryptic going to do what Cryptic going to do. They always continue to place, you know, new pieces of gear in the game throughout the past 9 years that are subpar. So that's my overall thoughts. That's the overall testing on it. The rings aren't horrible. The gloves I would not use personally, but again, it's up to you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them below. That's all I got for you folks today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys real soon.